Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Want to do a quick video and talk about money. This is not a finance or education type of video. It's just from a managerial leadership perspective, discussing money in the workplace. One of the things I want to bring up first is don't be cheap. People in leadership positions, we talk about military officers or civilian companies, we're talking our vice presidents, our senior vice presidents, things like that. It is in poor taste, in my opinion, to talk about money in front of your subordinates as it pertains to complaining about things being expensive, not wanting to spend money on this, overall being cheap. And I'm not saying don't save your money. You should certainly save your money and have a financial plan. However, when you're talking about money in front of people who make 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7 of what you make, it turns into a us and them. If there's a person that in your work center, a technician, say an E3, if we're talking military, they don't make a ton of money, and then you got the general walking in complaining about how expensive something is. It just doesn't jive, especially not in the workplace. Another thing I'll say is I've met a lot of leaders who were very money conscious, and you certainly should be money conscious, but to the point where they were not willing to step up and pay for things that they should in a leadership role. If we're celebrating someone who's been with our organization for X amount of years, let's say a dinner, it is acceptable and expected for leadership to pay for that person's meal, even that person's spouse's meal, and their children if they have them. All the way to include if there's a larger gathering to celebrate our teams or our unit's accomplishments, leadership is expected to pay. We should not be having our people show up and expect them to shell out money to celebrate them, as in mandatory fun. If we're going to throw things for our people, if we're going to celebrate our people for their hard work, the things they've done, leadership needs to throw some money in. Along those lines, if you're a person in a senior position and you have other managers putting in money for a celebration or a pot of money to purchase gifts for someone's going away, things like that, it should be understood that the higher in rank or position that you go, the more you should be expected to pay. I'll use military terms. If I have an E4 that's heading out the door and I've got my E5s, E7s, E8s putting in money, and then we also have a person directly in our organization that's, let's say, an 05, 06, the expectation is that the 06 puts in more money than the E6. Leaders understand you got to put your best foot forward. Just look at the pay scale. Look at the military pay scale. You get to see very quickly the difference in monies that certain ranks and grades make. So again, as a leader, as an officer, as a manager, make sure you're not being cheap and don't expect those below you in grade to put in more money than you're going to put in. Put your money where your mouth is. It's great to have a financial plan. I am not saying to not do that. You certainly should. You should be the first person stepping up as a leader and a manager, because a lot of you want that title. Hand some money in if we're talking about doing something to recognize our teams or our people. So that's all I got for now. If you have questions or comments about that, leave them below. You can shoot me a DM. If you don't agree, let me know. If you say, hey, you know what? I'm in charge. I shouldn't have to pay for stuff. There's only one of me, and there's a lot more E5s than there is of me. Let's talk about it. We can definitely have an open discussion. It doesn't have to be my way or the highway. This is just my opinion on leadership based on what I've seen, what works and what doesn't work. Leave a comment. Send it to somebody who may be on their leadership journey. I really appreciate y'all stopping in, and we will see you next video here on Restore Valor.